Finally tonight, a look at a unique profession. WTVD photojournalist Dave Wertheimer recently spent the day with a stone cutter, a man who matter-of-factly goes about the business of creating monuments that will last centuries. WTVD's Dave Bullock loaned his voice to this photo essay.
Death, to many, is the beginning of an eternal memorial. These man-made memorials of stone and sweat are to remind others of lives once lived. For over 15 years, Gary Brinkley has been working with hammers and chisels to mold rock into memorial.
You don't find too many people cutting rock no more, really. No two pieces of rock cut alike. It's all their touch, just about. It's similar to working a piece of wood, something, you know, you cut a piece of wood and it'll splinter out, or you cut a piece of rock and it'll break off, you know, same. It's basically the same thing, except different tools, different ways to do it. It's probably one of the hardest kinds of work to do all the way around. Just a little bit of fun to do something different once in a while, stonework and all.
How come?
Well, you know, just like I said, you're creating something a little different. And later on down the road, if you lived at least 60 or 70 years ago, 70 years old, you can go back and look at it sitting right there 9 times out of 10.
Gary doesn't think about death that much, but he does have a positive attitude about his own tombstone.
You know, nobody wants to really think about it, but if I had time and money, I'd probably fix me up something or other. You know, go ahead and get it done. I always say everybody needs to go ahead and buy the monument in advance, put it in the living room beside the TV so they can look at it all the time and get one good laugh out of it. Because when they're dead and gone, they can't.
As we near the close of the 20th century, what we leave behind for the future is the work of men like Gary who create memorials of our times. Dave Bullock, WTVD 11 News.
News as art. That is our report for tonight. Glad you could be with us. For Dwayne Ballin, Lisa Patton, and the entire WTVD 11 News team, I'm George Mallet. Have a good night and a great week ahead.
I've got tenacity, I'll put it that way. I'm like a bulldog. I like to into it and stay with it. The name is Philip Ritchie. Everybody calls me Phil. I started back in 1950. They were just building, constructing the arena there when I first came here. I'm not the best musician in the world, and an accordion is the easiest point for me, for one thing, and another thing, they appeal to the public, they sound good. Love of public, love of people, and a way to make a living. I'm blind, totally blind. I never let it be a handicap. I never found a handicap with it. Sometimes a little inconvenient, but I've did just about everything that a person could do, I think. And she's not only companion, she knows right where to go to. I just love the work. I'm a workaholic, I guess. I love to get out and work among people, be with people. To me, I work on the premise that there may be no tomorrow, and yesterday is gone, and I can't do anything about it. So I live the day, and when I go to bed at night, I feel like, well, done my best that day. I have nothing to worry about tomorrow.
At 8 o'clock, the barriers went up in order to keep the soon-to-arrive masses on the sidewalk. And it wasn't long before Franklin Street was crowded with, well, just about everything Chapel Hill could dream up.
What's up, Take Master? 1, 2, 3.
I'm Ying. And I'm Yang. Oh, yeah, that's right, the yin yang.
MC Hammer, woo! The Joker's out there, you better look out, because I'm after him.
Just that, it really doesn't.
Yeah, watch this, sweetheart.
But not all the costumes here are far out. Some are downright realistic. Look at this UN CD Spangler mask. And how about this guy? He looks just like Chapel Hill Mayor Jonathan Howells. Still, Halloween really is a time for kids, and there are plenty here.
Trick or treat, happy Halloween.
George Mallet, WTVD 11 News. 3-year-old Eric Wayne cleared away from his home in northern Wake County shortly before 2 this afternoon. At the request of the Wake County Sheriff's Department, Chopper 11 was in the air 2 hours later. Deputy Bob Hallisey joined our crew as we began a search of the woods between young Eric's home and Falls Lake. We surveyed the woods at treetop level, slowly working our way closer to the lake. Then, as we flew along the edge of the lake, we spotted the little blond boy with his 2 dogs. Their adventure was over. We landed, and within moments, Eric was in Bob Hallisey's arms.
We'll get your daddy. 601, what's the child's name? Okay, I have Eric in my arms at this time.
As we flew back home, Eric and I picked the burrs out of our clothing and looked for home out the window of the helicopter. We landed on Old Creedmoor Road for an emotional reunion between Tina Kinnis and her adventurous little boy. Things usually work out this well?
No, usually that's why I called the major, told him to bring some extra flashlight batteries because I feel like it was going to go into the night.
No, Mama's crying because I missed you.
EMS teams on the scene say apart from some scrapes and bruises, Eric came through his ordeal unscathed. In Wake County, George Mallet, WTVD 11 News. Chopper 11 joined the search for Eric shortly after 3 in the afternoon. Deputy Bob Hallisey of the Wake Sheriff's Department joined us as we scanned the woods from Eric's house to Falls Lake. Along the edge of the lake, more than 2 miles from his home, that we found the little boy along with his dogs, Bashful and Wednesday.
Okay, I have Eric in my arms at this time.
Eric cheerfully joined Chopper Jim Lane's crew for the short flight back to Old Creedmoor Road.
I think we both got burrs all in our socks, huh?
It wasn't long before the little boy was looking at familiar sights from a new perspective.
There's your mama.
Once on the ground, Deputy Hallisey carried Eric to his tearful mother. After dinner, Eric was all cleaned up and less interested in talking about today's adventure than in showing me his collection of Walt Disney and Dr. Seuss books. But Tina Kinnis is still very much focused on a scary afternoon and her son's rather matter-of-fact explanation for what happened.
That he followed the dogs into the woods and he couldn't find the house, so he just kept following the dogs. He'd be scared. He said, "No, my daddy find me."
Danny Kinnis knows his son is a handful, but he's surprised he chose to go on such a lengthy adventure.
He's just always into everything, and but he usually doesn't leave the yard.
Tina sums up her feelings this way.
Relieved that we're putting a fence up.
Yeah, Mom. I know, honey.
A sunny November afternoon finds Chopper 11 in the desperate search. Somewhere beneath these colorful trees, a 3-year-old boy is missing. Little Eric Wayne Kinnis wandered away from his northern Wake County home earlier in the day. With only a few hours of sunlight left, Chopper 11 is called in by the Wake County Sheriff's Department to help with the search. Joining us in the skies above Wake County is Deputy Bob Hallisey.
Well, I'm looking for 2 dogs. 2 dogs. The child's got blonde hair.
All of our eyes are focused on the woods below as we slowly work our way towards Falls Lake. Chopper Jim Lane deftly glides our French A-Star along at treetop level, occasionally dropping us down into clearings for a closer look. After about 25 minutes, we are above Falls Lake. Could a little boy really make it through 2 miles of thick woods to this clearing? Within moments, we have our answer. There he is, running along the edge of the lake with his companions, Bashful and Wednesday. We land, and seconds later, Deputy Hallisey scoops the little boy up into his arms.
601, what's the child's name? Eric? Okay, I have Eric in my arms at this time.
Little ends our crew for the ride back to his home on Old Creedmoor Road. The two of us busy ourselves removing burrs from our clothing during the short flight. Soon, the tired little boy is perched on my lap, looking at familiar sights from a different perspective.
There's your mama. Aren't you glad to be back, buddy? How long you been gone? I hate to see my little boy get lost.
We touch down right in front of the little boy's home, and Bob Hallisey carries Eric to his mother for an emotional reunion.
Daddy's here looking for you too. Hi, Daddy. Are you okay? You been in the water? Come, darling. Mom, you hit my mom. No, Mama's crying because I missed you. Mom, that's fine. I'm good, Mom. I know, honey.
I guess you were pretty worried, huh?
To say the least.
Did they radio you and tell you that we found him out there? Yeah. You can't hardly talk, can you?
I want to go over here with Cynthia. Oh, Mama's missed you.
After supper and a bath, the day's adventures seem of little importance to this 3-year-old boy. He seems far more interested in talking about his Dr. Seuss books than about his afternoon in the wilderness.
That bee's right there.
Who is that?
Bee.
It's a bee.
Bing, dings.
But the stay is still very much on the mind of Tina Kinnis. You see, it was just 8 years ago that another toddler was lost in this corner of Wake County. That child died of exposure. Did that story enter into your mind at all?
Mm-hmm.
What were you thinking?
That we needed to hurry up and find him because I knew it was going to be dark before much longer. And what they was having to wait on the tracking dog to get out, and they wouldn't let nobody in the woods to look for him because they was waiting on the dog because they didn't want to mess up his scent.
Does he go on adventures like this very often?
No. Yesterday he wandered off for a few minutes, but he come back, and today he didn't.
What did he tell you when he got back about what had happened?
That he followed the dogs into the woods and he couldn't find the house, so he just kept following the dogs. I asked him, was he scared? He said, no, my daddy found me. So he wasn't too worried about it.
Eric's dad is surprised by his son's afternoon-long quest. Does this 3-year-old often light out on his own?
Not usually. He's just, I guess, one of your typical little mean boys.
How's that?
He's just always into everything, and but he usually doesn't leave the yard. It's just, I don't know. He just, I guess, wandered off to see what else he could get into.
Tina Kinnis can sum up her feelings in one word.
Relieved, but we're putting a fence up.
Reporting for Prime Time, I'm George Mallet.
Uncle Dave's right over there. You want to go sing?
My name is Ray Bennett, and I'm a neon tube and all-around sign man. Neon was invented, really came into view in the late 20s, early 30s. Well, I like neon because I think neon is a part of my life. I've done it for so long, and the interest is so great into it that it's fascinating. It never seems to die within because you have such a brilliance from your work.
You want his McDrive? Oh, and next bud goes ticket.
Neon's aesthetically appealing. It's conducive with our 50s decor. It's good on the eyes. And it provides a wider spectrum of color.
Beautiful, beautiful. Makes you feel good when you accomplish something, especially when you light up the world.
Six-Niner Victor circles the Fayetteville airport, a predatorial silhouette in the sky. Call it a sortie, a secret mission complete with covert operations, reconnaissance, and classified orders from Saudi Arabia. It is 0 hour, 0300. The scrambled message unfurls in the wind, and Operation Happy Birthday Lady is underway.
How does it make you feel to be a part of something?
Very exciting, very patriotic. In fact, it brought tears to our eyes just talking to the gentleman.
Oh, he obviously misses his wife.
Yes, very much. And he appreciated all the support that we extended to him. We told him Fayetteville was behind him 100%.
It took a week of planning and friendly deception to pull off the aerial stunt.
Some happy birthday, Mama.
You look skyward. You're like I want to see that.
All right. The lady, Cindy White, thought a surprise party for her friends, when in fact, it was for herself.
She thought it was for me, and so he went to get me, and here we came with the cake and the roses, and we came in the door, and we all sang happy birthday, and she's looking around like, well, what in the world? She didn't know one thing. We just scared her to death.
Us
Always
love Jack.
That's what Daddy said.
Cindy and her two sons watched the spectacle, which was really a love letter 250 feet long, big enough to cross half a world.
It's just like him, but this is huge scale. Anything like this before.
What happens next year?
Next year, I hope he's going to be here with me, and he won't have to surprise me.
In Fayetteville, Keith Whitney, WTVD 11 News.
School at Shaw University looked more like a smokestack when firemen rushed on the scene. The building, erected in 1896, is one of the most historical structures on campus. In the past, it was the home to campus presidents. But on this day, all its current leader could do as history went up in smoke.
I don't know, I tell you, we are just finishing renovating this place, and I'm just devastated by it.
So are the 18 female upperclassmen who live there. They have lost everything in the fire, which is believed to have started on the 3rd floor and quickly spread to other wings. One Shaw student was injured as he tried to save his girlfriend.
I went up to look for Gina, and I was about to pass out, so I had the windows.
Meserve Hall, which has just undergone more than $100,000 in renovations, is also home to administrative offices and the school self-study program. That's Joan Barak's department.
Absolutely devastated. Because,
who was in her first floor office when she smelled smoke.
Coming from the ceiling. And then the electrician went downstairs, and he said that he saw some flames shooting from the basement, I guess around the furnace.
Authorities aren't sure how the fire started, but say there was fire all inside the walls of this old building, which home several firefighters, and at least one was overcome by smoke.
I would probably say that this building did not have any fire stops, which allowed the fire to extend up and around the building.
The immediate concern is to find shelter for the 18 students who lived here. The administration says that shouldn't be too difficult because faculty has already volunteered, and any other housing will be sought at local hotels. In Raleigh, El Pascal, WTVD 11 News.